Welcome to Tech Week TV. I'm Louisa Taylor, I'm the General Manager of Canterbury Tech, and I'm here with Dorinda Britton and little Aki here, who's come to join us today as well. We're going to be talking about the work that Dorinda Britton Limited has been doing as part of our Rethink Tech Skills program, supporting, retaining and attracting dyslexic people into the tech industry. Dorinda, welcome.
Thank you, Louisa. Been an interesting partnership.
It has. We've just come out of the stage one of our research, out of 4 stages. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about what was achieved in that stage one? Because it really has been an amazing success so far.
So the first stage was discovery. We pulled together 3 wonderful companies in Canterbury, Trimble, Indie and Focus. And we invited them to bring along a group of self-declared dyslexics,
interesting.
Which is really interesting and one that you have to approach very carefully because dyslexics and other neurodiversities, if they can, tend to hide within organisations. Why would you declare if it's going to make life more difficult? So you spend your life compensating in ways that are extraordinary. So we got these groups together. We ran 3 workshops. They were amazing. I can't find evidence anywhere of dyslexic people themselves. I would like to say people blessed with dyslexia themselves being involved in a workshop with HR and recruitment people. We've developed a whole data set of interesting observations and information around the recognition and support of dyslexic people and further down the hiring process of dyslexic people. So all of that has led towards us believing that in the near future we can develop a program which assists people and culture teams in organisations to appreciate and to support and to recruit dyslexic people.
I was lucky enough to join a couple of those workshops, and I mean, I learned a great deal myself being involved in that. I think seeing the HR teams who were really, these are companies that are at the top of their game in terms of HR processes, keeping a really open mind, to learning that actually our gold standard might not be gold enough,
right.
And what could we learn? And when we were at that chance where we were trying to come up with solutions to the problems that we'd, discovered together with the dyslexic employees and the HR teams, it was really interesting to see that suggestions that you would think, well, why don't we do this? And then hearing those dyslexic employees go, that doesn't work for me, was actually a real light bulb moment for me personally. What did you get out of those workshops?
I didn't appreciate the finer points from a company's point of view and the relationship of dyslexic people or neurodiverse people more generally within the companies they work for. This is the point where I have to admit that I myself have been declared dyslexic and probably dyspraxic. I got to this ripe age of mid-70s without knowing or without maybe wanting to know. After all, in my dyslexic family, I could read and write. So the interesting thing is that there are so many different levels in all forms of neurodiversity. So if we just focus on reading and writing, we miss the point.
Those workshops, weren't just a talk fest. There was some really major work done by the research team putting together a blueprint for what a program to really create inclusive workplaces for not only dyslexic people, but also thinking about other neurodiversities. What is that blueprint? What does that look like, and how does that work?
Well, the blueprint frames up, I think, in a general sense, the issues we need to concentrate on. I'd like to say that as part of our team, I have a design researcher of considerable skill. And also we brought in 2 colleagues of mine, or friends of mine as they were. They've become colleagues as well. Callum McCurdy and Chris Cole are both experts, Callum in dyslexia and ADD or ADHD, Chris in dyslexia. And these people really helped us to figure out the right questions.
That was one of the most amazing things about the team that had come together, is more than 50%, not only of the participants, but the actual people facilitating and doing the research were also had neurodiversities themselves. So
Absolutely.
added a certain kind of level of trust and a real authenticity to the conversations that were going on there. So why did you decide to focus on dyslexia?
Why wouldn't you actually look at those numbers of people as an asset? Dyslexic people are known to have a higher risk tolerance, but we need people who think differently, who see the world differently, who connect ideas together naturally. So I'm trying to think about how to answer this one, and why did I think that this was a thing? Because just observations over years that we need different minds at the table to bring about different solutions.
Yeah.
But we also need people who can do the work. Don't leave the world to creatives, because nothing ever gets finished. Don't leave the world to analytical people, because nothing would get started, you know. I mean, it is just like that. I mean, it may sound a bit glib, but I think it is just like that.
And that's true diversity, isn't it? Is having all the people that you need to solve a problem, looking
Absolutely.
at the problem.
Absolutely.
So dyslexia wasn't recognised as a thing
No.
by the New Zealand education
No.
system until about 2007.
Yep.
So people that have been through that education system prior to that have probably had almost no support. And I mean, even talking to parents of dyslexic children currently, you know, people are having to often self-fund the basics of support through the education system, or look at private education that might support them better. If people have been through that sort of experience with the education system, what's the mindset coming into the workforce for the first time?
Defensive. Frightened.
Yeah.
Frightened of being discovered. Frightened of not being up to the job. Not having access to people who complement them, easy access. So if I work for myself, I can choose where I access the skills that I don't have. But if you're employed in a large company, is that so easy? I think not.
Yeah. Well, the place that we saw many dyslexics overrepresented when we were doing this research was the founder and entrepreneurial community. Why would dyslexics be so successful?
My late brother was a prime example. You know, he was so dyslexic he couldn't read his own, virtually write his own name. But he was a young man, and so in the day, you supported your sons to get into business. You gave them all the support you could.
I mean, a common thread between some of the dyslexic entrepreneurs that we've talked to is that their parents kept looking for the right way to support them, and
Absolutely.
they had that wraparound support, and they succeeded in spite of all the barriers because they had that the belief, the confidence,
Yeah.
and the belief
Absolutely.
in themselves
Absolutely.
through their whānau. But we also know that there's this kind of inflection point that, you know, well supported people can thrive and have a very creative, successful career. We also have some statistics like here, 35% of dyslexic people leave school early.
Yep.
Dyslexics are often overrepresented in the prison system, and the problem is that we don't actually have any statistics in New Zealand. There was a bit of research done by the Dyslexia Foundation that estimated about 50% of the prison system were dyslexic.
Judge Andrew Beecroft, who was the former Children's Commissioner, and I refer to this often, he made a little video for me about this problem and about the numbers of people who end up in the prison system. So I've got his estimates as well, which tie in with the estimates you suggested before. And really, so many of them have landed up in prison by being devious, but they're deviously clever,
Yes.
you know?
And what if that was put to societal good? And,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So many of them are there, not all of them, many of them are there through lack of opportunity to be seen for who they are. It's a systemic thing, and we need as New Zealanders to understand that there are different ways of thinking in this world.
How do we make sure that people get on that supported pathway instead of this unsupported pathway?
We have such a lot of people in New Zealand who don't have that support, family support, for various really real reasons. It leads to underemployment. It might not lead to no employment, but it certainly tends to lead to underemployment.
Can you explain what underemployment is?
Well, it's an interesting thing. If you cannot defend yourself, if you cannot be confident with who you are and what your capabilities are, you'll accept a menial job.
So you're working under your ability.
Under your ability, that's quite right.
So we've been hearing repeatedly that because there's a shortage of senior devs in the industry at the moment, asking senior devs to support more juniors or
Yes.
new people into the industry becomes quite hard to balance. So if they had more external support to give them that sort of
Targeted
that
support.
pastoral
Yep.
care,
Absolutely.
and preparing them for like the workforce, so that outside support takes the pressure off some of the internal resources who are very busy at the moment.
Internal support for employees on that journey has got to be provided, and so we are engaging with an entity that will do that at a quantifiable, as a package, you know, so that companies can say, well, we've got 5 new employees, 5 times X is X,
Yeah.
and we can budget for it.
So we're at the end of stage 1, which is this discovery, the research phase. You've got a blueprint of what a good program looks like, and it's actually really detailed. There's ability to build on that work. What does stage 2, 3 and 4 look like for the rethinks?
So it's really taking that data that we've gathered and testing it with the existing companies so that we have a testable product and service.
So that's one thing that came through very clearly from the researchers, that companies didn't want a sort of take off the shelf, enforced sort of program. They wanted to be able to build on the good work that they're already doing. And
Yes.
so the program is a way of tailoring solutions to your culture and
Absolutely.
situation. So if we look at this problem holistically, we've got a shortage of skills in the tech industry. We've got societal impact of people being unsupported with neurodiversity, leading to bad social outcomes for them. But we've also got the possibility to provide amazing career pathways for creative thinkers.
Absolutely.
How does that fit together?
I'm pretty passionate about this subject. We've put our trust in technology to take us to where we need to go. But actually behind technology are human beings.
Yeah.
We need the human beings with the vision and the commitment to make it happen. And we're certainly not involving a great tranche of our people in that mission.
So currently the program Rethink is looking for companies that are interested to go through the program, but also a national partner or sponsor to get involved in telling the story and being one of those first companies to go through that program
Absolutely.
and fly the flag for inclusion for dyslexic and neurodiverse people in our creative and innovation industries.
Yeah, as part of their diversity programs. I mean, let's not say this is something different. It adds strength to the diversity program. So I'm very keen that we don't start dividing things up anymore, but that we've excluded something important, an important element from the diversity discussion.
So Dorinda, there's been a lot of work put in and there's some really exciting possibilities for the future moving into this stage 2, developing the program. So what should people do if they think, gosh, our organisation could really do with this? This is the kind of, next step for us in our diversity and inclusion program of work. What should they do?
Contact us.
Get in touch with Dorinda.
We're pressing ahead with this program. We're really excited by it, and we're hoping to get the opportunity to show New Zealanders what we're capable of.
Thanks so much for your time, Dorinda, and I look forward to us changing society together.
Thank you.